Friends, if you're excited to watch the upcoming animated adventure Lilo and Stitch 2025 in English, then make sure to like this video right now. And if you're visiting our channel for the very first time, welcome. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button so you never miss any updates about your favorite movies, reviews, and entertainment news. In today's video, we're diving into the magical, emotional, and fun-filled world of the new Lilo and Stitch movie. This film is a reimagining of the classic Disney story we all know and love, but with a fresh 2025 twist that promises to entertain fans both old and new. We'll talk about what this movie is all about, its plot, setting, and how it connects to the original version. Is it a remake, a reboot, or something completely new? I'll give you all the details. And for those of you wondering where you can watch it, don't worry. I'll also let you know exactly which OTT platform or satellite channel will be streaming this movie, and when you can expect it to be released. So if you're planning a movie night or want to be one of the first to watch it, make sure to stick around for all the info. But that's not all. We're also going behind the scenes. I'll take you through the journey of how this film was made. From the early pre-production stages and casting decisions to the animation process, music composition, and visual effects. We'll also explore the post-production efforts that helped bring this movie to life. Plus, we'll discuss the film's budget, how much it cost to make, and how well it's expected to perform at the box office. Will it be a blockbuster like the original? We'll find out. And yes, I'll be sharing the full story outline, along with a mini review so you can get a good idea of what to expect from this new version. We'll talk about the emotional depth of the story, the new elements introduced in this adaptation, and how well it captures the spirit of family, friendship, and adventure that made the original so special. We'll also take a closer look at the star cast, who's voicing or playing which character, how the performances were, and what fans are saying about them. Did the actors do justice to the iconic roles of Lilo, Stitch, and the rest of the gang? I'll give you my honest thoughts on that too. And finally, we'll wrap up with some fun and lesser-known facts about the film, from Easter eggs for longtime fans to behind-the-scenes trivia that will surprise you. So make sure you watch this video till the end because this is going to be your ultimate guide to Lilo and Stitch 2025. Let's get started. Alright friends, let's dive into the wild and heartwarming adventure that is Lilo and Stitch 2025. And trust me, this story doesn't just tug at your heartstrings, it yanks on them with a surfboard in one hand and a plasma blaster in the other. Right from the beginning, the film kicks off in true intergalactic style. We're thrown straight into space, where chaos is unfolding as a rogue genetic experiment. Our blue, chaotic, cuddly anti-hero Stitch is once again causing all sorts of cosmic mischief. The Galactic Federation, exasperated and done with Stitch's unpredictable nature, decides to send him far away. But here's the twist. This version doesn't just drop him randomly. Instead, they choose Earth very intentionally, hoping he might finally learn something about empathy and connection. Enter Lilo. Not just the quirky little girl we remember from the original, but a version of her that's slightly older, more independent, and full of a quiet strength that pulls you in. She's still living in Hawaii, still misunderstood, still obsessed with photography and Elvis, but this time we see her dealing with deeper emotions. Grief, loneliness, and the pressure of growing up without her parents while helping her older sister Nani hold everything together. The bond between Lilo and Nani is central, and the movie does an incredible job showing how love doesn't always look perfect. It's messy, complicated, and real. The moment Lilo meets Stitch, sparks fly, and not just in the "ah how cute" way, but in a crash-landing, dog adoption, furniture-destroying kind of way. And yet, there's magic in their chaos. The narrative doesn't follow a clean line. It jumps between Lilo's point of view and Stitch's, giving us a glimpse into his confusion, curiosity, and eventually, his slow, reluctant growth into someone who starts to care. One minute we're laughing at Stitch trying to eat a couch, and the next, we're hit with a moment where he stares at the stars wondering what family even means. It's beautifully layered. The film plays a little with time, not in a sci-fi way, but emotionally, using flashbacks, memories, and dream sequences to deepen our understanding of both characters. We see moments from Lilo's past with her parents, and even glimpses of Stitch's creation and what he was designed for. These moments don't slow the story down, they add weight. They make you care deeply about a blue alien who doesn't speak properly and a Hawaiian girl who dances in the face of sadness. As the story unfolds, the conflicts intensify. On the surface, there's the classic chase. Aliens trying to capture Stitch, social workers eyeing Nani's ability to care for Lilo, and Lilo fighting to keep her strange little dog. But underneath all that is the real conflict. The fear of being abandoned, the struggle to belong, and the desperate need to hold on to whatever fragments of love you have left. The turning point hits when Stitch runs away, convinced he's nothing but destruction. It's heartbreaking. But Lilo doesn't give up. In a daring, visually stunning climax that involves hovercrafts, storms, and one of the most emotionally charged rescues in a Disney movie yet, Lilo shows Stitch that Ohana, family, means nobody gets left behind or forgotten. By the time the credits roll, you're not just watching the end of a story. You've lived it. You've laughed, cried, and probably wished you had your own chaotic alien friend. The emotional impact sneaks up on you, masked in jokes and mayhem, and then hits like a wave. It's a story about second chances, about the weird families we build from scratch, and about how even the most broken beings can find their place. And wow, does it deliver! Let's talk characters, because Lilo and Stitch 2025 isn't just about aliens and explosions. It's a full-blown emotional roller coaster powered by some seriously well-crafted personalities. First up, we've got Lilo. Now, this version of Lilo isn't just the cute, quirky kid who loves Elvis and punches bullies. Though yes, she's still got that fire. She's more emotionally complex this time around. She's growing up, and the movie really leans into how that feels. Being stuck between holding on to childhood and facing the weight of the real world. Lilo feels isolated, not just by her weirdness, but by her grief. Her parents are gone, Nani's overwhelmed, and the world just doesn't seem to understand her. But instead of retreating into silence, she fights back, with her camera, her beliefs, her fierce loyalty, and that stubborn heart of hers. Her growth isn't some big transformation moment. It's in the little things. Standing up for herself, reaching out to Stitch, and learning how to let people in even when it hurts. Then there's Stitch. Oh boy, Stitch is a chaotic legend. At the beginning, he's a walking disaster with no idea what good even means. He breaks stuff. He bites people. He looks at furniture like it's his enemy. But underneath all that chaos is a creature who's scared and lost. Stitch isn't just comic relief here. He's deeply confused about who he is and why he was made. He was created to destroy, but he finds himself in a world where love and kindness exist, and it scrambles every circuit in his alien brain. What makes his development so powerful is that it's not instant. Stitch doesn't wake up one day and decide to be a hero. He messes up. He runs away. He almost gives up. But slowly, through Lilo's stubborn belief in him and his own desire to belong, he starts to change. By the end, he's still wild, still unpredictable, but now he chooses to care. He chooses Ohana. That's massive. Now let's give some love to Nani. She's the unsung hero of the film. Young, trying to be both sister and parent, working multiple jobs, juggling responsibilities no one her age should have to handle. She's exhausted, frustrated, and absolutely determined. Her arc is less about changing who she is and more about embracing her own strength. She learns to trust Lilo more, to not carry the weight of everything alone, and to ask for help when she needs it. Her bond with Lilo is one of the emotional cores of the movie, and the way she slowly lets Stitch in, despite every instinct screaming, "This alien is ruining my house," shows just how strong her love is. We also get some awesome development from side characters. The social worker, Cobra Bubbles, is still a stone-faced enigma with a heart of gold. In this version, he's given more depth. He's not just a looming threat to take Lilo away. He's someone who genuinely wants what's best for the family, and we see glimpses of his own regrets and hopes. Even the alien characters like Jumba and Pelekai get their moments. Jumba, the mad scientist who made Stitch, goes from a careless creator to someone who genuinely wants Stitch to thrive. Pelekai, still the goofy Earth-obsessed sidekick, gets some of the funniest scenes, but also shows us how understanding a completely foreign culture can lead to unexpected wisdom. And what ties all of these characters together is their shared need to connect. Every single one of them, no matter how strange, flawed, or out of place, is looking for a place to belong. Their arcs aren't just about becoming better people. They're about becoming real people. Messy, emotional, and full of love they don't always know how to express. The relationships are the engine of the story. Lilo and Stitch's bond, Nani's sacrifices, Jumba's guilt, even Cobra's quiet concern. These are what give the movie its heart. This isn't a tale of heroes and villains. It's a story about broken, funny, lovable characters finding their way back to each other, no matter how wild the ride gets. Let's talk performances because Lilo and Stitch 2025 brings the heat, not just in alien crashes and surf scenes, but in the acting department too. First off, the young actress playing Lilo absolutely nails it. She doesn't just act like Lilo, she is Lilo. Every line she delivers feels honest, like it's coming straight from a place of real emotion. She's not just spunky and cute. She's raw, unpredictable, and deeply human. There are moments where she'll make you laugh with her deadpan comebacks or quirky logic, and then moments where she hits you with a quiet stare or a whispered line that just cuts straight through to your heart. She carries emotional weight beyond her years, and it makes her scenes feel so alive. When she connects with Stitch, you can see it on her face. It's not just acting, it's a full-on emotional exchange. Now let's talk about Stitch, because even though he's mostly a voice and a heap of CGI chaos, whoever is behind the voice brings a wild energy that's hard to ignore. The voice actor doesn't just growl and squeak. He gives Stitch this weird blend of menace, mischief, and, eventually, vulnerability. One minute you're laughing as he shouts gibberish and climbs the walls, the next he delivers a soft, broken sentence about being alone, and your chest just tightens. It's impressive how much emotion comes through such an unusual character. And that's all thanks to the vocal performance that gives Stitch a soul. Nani is another standout. The actress playing her brings a perfect mix of exhausted big sister energy and fierce maternal instinct. She's not over the top or melodramatic. Her performance is grounded, and you can feel the pressure she's under in every interaction. You see it in the way she talks to Lilo with a combination of love and frustration, in the way her voice cracks when things get too hard, and in the protective fire she unleashes when her family is threatened. Her scenes with Lilo are beautifully layered. There's history, tension, affection, and that silent understanding that comes from shared pain. She brings that realism you don't always get in family films. Now Cobra bubbles. This man doesn't need to raise his voice or move fast. He commands every scene he's in with pure presence. The actor gives him this low-key authority mixed with a surprising warmth. It's all in the eyes, the pauses, the way he listens before he speaks. And when he does speak, it's with a weight that makes you stop and pay attention. He's not just some intimidating suit here. He's layered, and his performance adds a whole new dimension to what could have been a very flat role. Jumba and Pelekai steal scenes in their own right. Jumba's actor leans into the mad scientist role with a theatrical flair that makes him both ridiculous and oddly sympathetic. You get the sense he's having a blast, but there's also a shift as the movie progresses. He softens, and his lines start to carry regret and hope. Pelekai, meanwhile, is pure comedic gold. Every time he speaks, it's like watching a perfectly timed sketch. But he also brings a weird sincerity to his obsession with Earth culture that makes you love him more than you expect to. Even the supporting cast shines. From local shop owners to classmates to side aliens, everyone feels like they belong in this vibrant, chaotic world. Nobody's phoning it in. The voice work and live-action performances blend seamlessly, keeping the tone balanced between emotional realism and cartoonish fun. What really makes it all click is the chemistry between characters. Whether it's Lilo arguing with Nani, Stitch bonding with the family, or Jumba and Pelekai bickering like an old married couple, every interaction feels authentic. The cast doesn't just play characters. They inhabit a family, a messy, makeshift, beautiful little family that feels completely real. And that's what makes the performances in Lilo and Stitch 2025 so unforgettable. Let's take a moment to appreciate the real mastermind behind the curtain of Lilo and Stitch 2025. The director. Because let me tell you, this film doesn't just stumble its way into greatness. Every emotional punch, every chaotic chase, Every quiet sunset scene has fingerprints all over it. The director clearly walked into this with a mission: to honor the soul of the original while giving it a fresh, cinematic heartbeat that makes it feel alive for today's audience. Right from the first frame, the tone is set like a perfect surf playlist. Warm, quirky, sometimes a little strange but deeply emotional. You get sweeping shots of Hawaiian landscapes that feel like a love letter to the island, not just as a location, but as a living, breathing character in the story. Then boom! You're in a spaceship, surrounded by blinking lights and alien tech, and somehow it all flows together like it was meant to. The director's biggest flex: balance. This movie juggles sci-fi chaos, grounded family drama, slapstick humor, and serious emotional themes, and it never once feels like it's spinning out of control. The pacing is tight but never rushed. The story unfolds like a tide coming in. You get small waves of funny, weird, heartwarming moments before a big emotional swell knocks you back. The director knows exactly when to let a scene breathe and when to push forward. There are no wasted shots. Even the quiet scenes where nothing big is happening, Lilo watching the stars, Stitch sitting alone in the woods, are dripping with meaning. The camera lingers just long enough to let you feel it, but not so long that you lose interest. Shot composition in this film is a storyteller all by itself. You'll notice how characters are framed. Lilo often in wide shots to show her loneliness or smallness in a big world, Stitch in tight, shaky frames when he's feeling anxious or chaotic, and wide, flowing camera moves during chase scenes that turn the action into a kind of dance. And then there are the transitions: smooth, clever, and sometimes downright magical. Flashbacks don't just happen, they emerge, woven into the current moment like memories breaking through the surface. It's seamless, and it adds to the movie's emotional rhythm. The mood of the film is something special too. The director plays with contrasts: light and shadow, calm and chaos, loud and soft, not just visually but emotionally. You'll be giggling one moment as Stitch clumsily navigates a human kitchen, and the next you'll be hit with a moment of raw vulnerability, where a simple "I'm lost" line from Stitch hits harder than any explosion ever could. And the cool part is, none of it feels manipulative. The director builds trust with the audience from the beginning. You want to go on this ride. You want to laugh and cry and hang 10 with these characters. There are also bold stylistic choices scattered throughout the film that give it flavor. A sudden slow-motion moment during a sibling argument makes the tension feel epic. A surreal dream sequence visualizing Stitch's fears uses animation styles that break from the rest of the film, making it stand out like a splash of color on a blank canvas. Even the way the director handles alien tech feels intentional, colorful, exaggerated, and a little ridiculous, which helps maintain the playful tone without sacrificing stakes. And let's not ignore how the director handles emotional beats. There are no dramatic speeches or overblown moments. Instead, there are glances, silences, small gestures, a hand held, a photograph touched, a whispered word that says everything. The emotional payoff is earned, and it hits because the director trusts the audience to get it without having to spell everything out. In the end, the director doesn't just guide the story, they sculpt it. Every beat, every laugh, every teardrop is part of a bigger vision that brings a beloved tale back to life with new energy and heart. And if you walk out of this movie feeling like you just hugged a hurricane, you can thank the person in the director's chair for that ride. Let's talk cinematography, because in Lilo and Stitch 2025, the camera doesn't just capture the story, it tells it. From the very first frame, the visuals pull you in and don't let go. You can almost feel the humidity in the Hawaiian air, hear the waves even before the sound kicks in, and smell the salty breeze. All thanks to how the camera moves, what it focuses on, and how it frames the world. This isn't your standard point-and-shoot family film. The cinematography gives everything a lush, immersive, almost dreamy feel. And yet, it's grounded. You believe in this place. You want to be there. Let's start with angles, because this film knows exactly how to place the camera to get the most emotional mileage. When we see Lilo from above, small, distant, often alone, it drives home her feeling of isolation. When we switch to her point of view, the world becomes strange, vibrant, a little off-kilter, like we're inside her head. You'll notice how the angles shift depending on who the focus is. Stitch often gets low, wide, chaotic shots that mirror his unpredictable nature. When he's panicked, the camera moves fast, shaky like it's trying to keep up. When he's calm or learning to love, the camera slows, steadies, almost like it's breathing with him. Lighting in this movie deserves its own spotlight. Literally. The natural Hawaiian sunlight is used beautifully, washing everything in this golden warmth that makes even the quieter scenes feel alive. But then, when the tone shifts, when things get tense or sad, the light fades or hardens subtly. There's a heartbreaking scene with Lilo and Nani in the kitchen where the warm tones drop into a cooler, shadowy palette, and you feel the emotional chill. Then on the flip side, when moments of connection or hope break through, the light bursts back in. Sunlight peeking through storm clouds, a street lamp casting a warm circle in the dark. It's not loud, it's not obvious, but it's powerful. You're not just watching characters. You're feeling what they're feeling through the light on their faces. Now let's talk about framing. This film loves symmetry and asymmetry in all the right places. When characters feel disconnected, they're framed on opposite sides of the screen, sometimes separated by doorways, furniture, or just empty space. It's subtle, but it tells you exactly what's happening emotionally without a single word. And then, when they come together, physically or emotionally, the frame tightens. They're placed in the center, in harmony, surrounded by soft focus that draws your eye to their expressions. And the use of foreground and background. Genius. There are scenes where a character is speaking in the front, but your eye is pulled to what's happening behind them. Small, silent details that add richness and texture without ever needing dialogue. Then you've got the big, jaw-dropping visuals. The action sequences, whether it's a mid-air chase through canyons or Stitch causing a ruckus in town, are kinetic and thrilling but always clear. You never lose track of the action. The camera moves like part of the scene, swooping, spinning, ducking. It's like riding a drone through a theme park designed by aliens and surfers. And then there are the quiet moments that take your breath away. Lilo lying in a hammock under the stars, a wide shot of her tiny figure against the endless sky. Or the moment Stitch watches a family from a distance, framed through a window, the glass slightly fogged. Beautiful, heartbreaking, and completely wordless. What makes the cinematography sing is how it supports the mood without stealing the spotlight. You're not watching flashy tricks. You're watching emotion, memory, chaos, and healing unfold in a visual language that's as poetic as it is precise. The camera isn't just a lens here. It's a narrator, whispering things the characters can't say out loud. And once you start noticing how every angle, every shadow, every shaft of light is part of the emotional architecture, you won't be able to unsee it. This film isn't just told. It's painted frame by frame with feeling. Editing and pacing in Lilo and Stitch 2025 are like a dance, sometimes a wild spinning hula, sometimes a slow swaying lullaby, and it all works together to keep your eyes glued to the screen and your heart along for the ride. Let's start with the rhythm of the film because this is one of those stories that plays out like a mixtape. It knows when to turn up the volume with fast, energetic sequences full of slapstick chaos and UFO-powered action, and when to slow things way down and let a single glance or quiet moment speak volumes. The editing team deserves a standing ovation just for how smooth those transitions feel. 1 minute Stitch is wrecking a beachside luau in full alien panic mode, and the next we're in a nearly silent scene with Lilo gazing out at the ocean, trying to make sense of her world. And somehow it flows like water. No jolts, no awkward cuts, just a perfectly timed emotional tide that rises and falls with the story. What's really fun to watch is how the editing plays with contrast. High-energy scenes are cut quickly, but never sloppily. There's a kind of controlled chaos in the way action moments are handled. Take the scenes where Stitch is being chased or causing mayhem. You've got quick cuts, dynamic angles, overlapping audio, but it never feels confusing. Instead, it feels alive, like the movie is racing along with him. Then, as soon as Stitch finds a moment of stillness or curiosity, the editing breathes. There's a wonderful restraint in how long the camera lingers in the quiet scenes, letting emotions stew without hurrying us to the next plot point. Montages are used sparingly but effectively, particularly in the sequences that show the developing bond between Lilo and Stitch. The editors weave together small, intimate moments, a shared sandwich, a messy room makeover, a playful fight, with a rhythm that feels honest and earned. These aren't just scene fillers. They're emotional stitches in the fabric of their relationship. Even the comedic beats are sharpened by clever timing. A perfectly placed pause before a punchline. A hard cut to something unexpected. A sudden jump from calm to chaos. The editing makes sure the humor lands without stepping on the film's emotional core. And let's talk about the emotional pacing. This film is a masterclass in how to guide an audience through laughter, tension, heartbreak, and joy without ever feeling like it's manipulating you. The heavy scenes aren't wallowed in, but they're not rushed either. The editors give space for characters to react, for silence to carry weight, and for emotions to settle before moving forward. In a scene where Lilo and Nani have a heart-to-heart, the cuts are minimal, the shots long. You feel like you're in the room with them, and that connection is everything. Even scenes with multiple characters or overlapping storylines are cut with such clarity that you never feel lost. There's a steady hand at work here, ensuring every thread gets its moment without pulling focus from the central heartbeat of the film. There's also this lovely rhythm to the film that mirrors the ocean itself, ebbing and flowing, fast and slow, but always moving. Just when you think things might be getting too quiet, the pace picks up with a bit of mischief or a dramatic twist. Just when the action feels like it's reaching a fever pitch, the story slows and pulls you in with a tender beat. It's not just pacing for pacing's sake. It's emotional pacing. It's storytelling through rhythm, and it works like magic. Overall, the editing is invisible in the best way. It doesn't call attention to itself, but you feel it guiding you the entire time. It's what lets the film stretch its emotional muscles without feeling bloated, and what keeps you so hooked you don't even check the time. Whether you're holding your breath during a suspenseful sequence or tearing up in a soft, wordless scene, the editing is what makes it all land just right. Now let's talk about the heartbeat of Lilo and Stitch, 2025, that you don't just hear. You feel the soundtrack and score. This movie doesn't just use music as background noise. No. The music is a full-blown character in the story, guiding your emotions, lifting you into the skies during action scenes, and wrapping around your heart in the quietest moments like a warm Hawaiian breeze. From the very first notes, the score sets a tone that says, you're in for something beautiful, something wild, and something full of soul. The composers clearly knew they were working with a story that straddles emotional depth, childhood wonder, sci-fi madness, and cultural roots, and they managed to balance all of that in one magical auditory package. You can't talk about Lilo and Stitch without talking about the island vibes, and the film honors that fully. The soundtrack incorporates ukuleles, slack-key guitars, traditional Polynesian rhythms, and soft percussion that immediately transport you to the world of the film. But it's not just decorative, it's purposeful. When the story leans into family and heritage, the music gets stripped back to these raw, acoustic tones that feel like a lullaby passed down through generations. These scenes glow with authenticity and a deep emotional resonance, making every moment feel earned. But the movie also knows when to have fun, and the upbeat tracks come in swinging like a cannonball into the ocean. Funky beats, alien synths, and retro-futuristic motifs crash together in the most delightful way when Stitch is involved. It's chaotic, playful, and absolutely infectious. And then there are the motifs. Oh, the motifs. You'll start noticing them without even realizing it. There's a soft, recurring melody that plays every time Lilo is wrestling with loneliness or grief. It's subtle, played on a music box-like instrument, and it creeps in when you least expect it, sometimes blending into the wind or the sound of waves. And just when you think it's gone, it returns in full orchestral swell during a pivotal emotional moment, like the music itself has grown up along with the characters. There's also a unique musical signature for Stitch, quirky, a little offbeat, with strange instrumentation that reflects his alien nature, but even that theme evolves as he grows closer to Lilo and her world. It becomes softer, more harmonious, like he's finding his place not just in her family, but in the score itself. Silence also plays a massive role here. This film isn't afraid to mute everything for a second and let the moment breathe. One of the most powerful scenes has almost no music at all, just the sound of the ocean in the background and a few rustling leaves. That absence of score actually makes the emotion hit harder, because you're not being told how to feel by violins or horns, you're just feeling it raw and real. And then when the music does creep back in, it hits like a wave you didn't see coming. What's really impressive is how well the score supports the story without ever becoming overbearing. You're not distracted by it. You're not thinking, wow, that's a great song in the middle of a scene. You're just caught up in the feeling of it. And that's the magic trick. The music is so intertwined with the emotional fabric of the film that it becomes invisible in the best way. When the story needs momentum, the score is there, charging forward. When the characters need space to breathe, it pulls back. It's like a dance partner that never steps on your toes but always knows the next move. So whether it's a dreamy Hawaiian lullaby under the stars, a pulse-pounding alien escape track that sounds like it came out of a retro sci-fi arcade, or a tear-jerking piano line that sneaks up on you just as Lilo whispers something vulnerable, the music is always one step ahead of your heart. It's not just there to fill silence. It's there to guide your emotions like a quiet narrator you didn't even realize was holding your hand the whole time. Let's dive into the emotional ocean that is Lilo and Stitch, 2025, and talk about the themes and messages that swim just beneath the surface, waiting to sneak up and splash you right in the heart. This isn't just a story about a blue alien and a Hawaiian girl causing chaos and laughter. It's a layered exploration of family, identity, grief, belonging, and the idea that love isn't about perfection. It's about choosing to stay, even when everything feels broken. First and foremost, let's talk about the beating heart of the film, the theme of Ohana. Yes, the famous line still stands tall. Ohana means family, and family means nobody gets left behind or forgotten. But this time, the film doesn't just say it, it lives it. The story digs deeper into what that word really means. It shows that family isn't always pretty or easy. Sometimes it's messy, loud, stubborn, or hurting. Nani is still trying to hold things together for Lilo. Lilo is still that beautifully weird kid trying to cope with abandonment and loss, and Stitch, well, he's still learning what it means to be more than just a destructive force of nature. But now, all of that is unpacked with more emotional nuance. It's not about creating the perfect family. It's about fighting for the one you've got. The film also isn't afraid to wade into heavier waters. One of the standout themes is grief, especially how children process it. Lilo's behavior is more than just quirky. It's how she copes with the world shifting under her feet. The movie doesn't try to fix her or present her sadness as something to get over. Instead, it honors her emotions and shows that healing isn't a straight line. And then there's Stitch. Grief and isolation personified in fuzzy blue alien form. He may be from another galaxy, but his longing to be loved, to belong, and to find peace is as human as it gets. Another powerful theme is identity. This film plays with the idea of not fitting in. Whether you're a girl who talks to fish or an alien engineered for destruction. Both Lilo and Stitch are misfits in their own ways, and their journey is less about changing who they are and more about embracing their weirdness, their scars, and their hearts. The film shouts loud and proud that it's okay to be different. In fact, that's where the beauty is. Instead of asking the characters to conform, it asks the world around them to open up and make room. Belonging runs as an undercurrent through every scene. It's in how Stitch struggles with where he came from versus who he wants to be. It's in how Lilo clings to the rituals and stories of her culture to feel anchored. It's in Nani's desperate efforts to keep their little family together despite the odds. Every character is searching for home, not just a place but a feeling, a person, a purpose. And when they begin to find it in each other, not because of blood but because of choice, it hits like a wave. And then, surprisingly, there's this sneaky little message about second chances. Stitch wasn't made to love. He was built to destroy. But the film says screw that destiny nonsense. You are not your programming. You are what you choose to be. And that's a powerful idea for anyone who's ever felt stuck in a role or judged by where they came from. The film says people and aliens can change. Not because someone forces them to, but because someone believes they can. That kind of hope, that willingness to see past behavior and into the potential of someone's heart, is what fuels the whole narrative. Even the sci-fi elements carry their own thematic weight. The aliens and galactic systems provide a backdrop that exaggerates the idea of feeling lost in the universe. Literally. But by bringing that massive scale back down to one little girl, one alien, and one house on a beach, the film reminds us that the biggest answers to our deepest fears can often be found in the smallest places. So yes, Lilo and Stitch 2025 gives you laughs, chaos, adorable creatures, and high-flying adventures, but underneath it all, it's whispering some really important things. That family is a verb, not a noun. That grief doesn't make you broken, it makes you real. That being different isn't a flaw, it's a gift. And that love, the hard kind, the real kind, the one that stays through the mess, is the thing that makes us whole. Whether you're a kid, a grown-up, or an intergalactic experiment gone rogue, that message will stick with you long after the credits roll. Let's talk about the magic that makes Lilo and Stitch 2025 come to life, because when it comes to visual effects and CGI, this film isn't just about creating jaw-dropping moments. It's about blending the fantastic with the real in ways that feel seamless and, dare I say, heartfelt. First off, let's address the big blue alien in the room. Stitch. As the star of the show, Stitch's CGI is the perfect mix of lifelike and otherworldly. The digital rendering of him is impressive. His fur moves like real fuzz. His eyes convey a surprising amount of emotion for an alien, and his movements are delightfully fluid. But here's the kicker. He never feels out of place. He doesn't stand out like a shiny CGI character plopped into a world full of live-action people. No, he belongs in Lilo's world. The visual effects team has done a remarkable job of ensuring Stitch blends naturally with his Hawaiian surroundings. Whether he's running through the sand, swimming in the ocean, or causing his usual mayhem, the integration of CGI with the live action is so smooth that you stop thinking about it and just enjoy the ride. It's not just Stitch who gets this loving treatment. The environments in the film are absolutely rich and textured, but not in the way you'd expect from a big, flashy blockbuster. The visuals here are designed to enhance the world, not distract from it. Take the scenes with the ocean, for example. The CGI water is beautiful, but it never overpowers the scene. It moves naturally, shimmering under the sun, responding to the character's actions without calling attention to itself. The gentle waves or even the wild, crashing surf during action scenes feel real. And that's a crucial element when you're trying to immerse an audience in a world that's both grounded and magical. Speaking of magical, let's dive into some of the more fantastical moments. There are sequences with alien tech, high-speed chases, and otherworldly landscapes where the CGI could easily go overboard, but it doesn't. There's a balance. The digital effects are not there to wow you with spectacle, but to enhance the emotions and the story. In the scenes where Stitch is discovering his own power or engaging in his chaotic antics, the visual effects accentuate the humor and energy of those moments. You don't just see the action, you feel it. And that's where the CGI really shines. It enhances the emotion rather than distracting from it. When Stitch and Lilo are in sync, battling together against some alien threat, the effects elevate that partnership, making it feel bigger, grander, and more powerful. What's really cool, though, is how Lilo and Stitch 2025 blends practical effects with digital ones. There are moments where you can see the practical elements, like when Lilo's house is being repaired or the set pieces in town. They're real, tangible, and they ground the film in something solid. This mix of practical and digital is key because it prevents the film from feeling too fake. In a world where CGI can sometimes take you out of the moment with flashy, over-the-top action, Lilo and Stitch chooses subtlety. The effects here are used sparingly, where they count, and they never distract from the story. In fact, some of the most memorable moments aren't the huge explosions or CGI-heavy action scenes, but the small, quiet, almost understated moments that are enhanced by visual effects. The stars twinkling above Lilo's house at night, the glow of alien technology lighting up Stitch's face, the magic of a moment when Lilo and Stitch share a bond. These little touches are where the film's visual effects team really flexes their muscles. They make the mundane feel special, and the fantastical feel grounded in reality. It's about enhancing the emotional impact, not overshadowing it. And then, of course, there's the fun factor. The visual effects here know when to let loose and get wild. Stitch wreaking havoc in town is a pure delight. Action-packed, high energy, and full of creative digital effects that match his crazy energy. But the CGI never feels too much. It's not just about showing off, it's about showing what these effects can do to elevate the fun, the tension, or the emotion of a scene. Overall, Lilo and Stitch, 2025, takes a smart, thoughtful approach to visual effects. The CGI blends naturally with the world, adding to the immersion without overshadowing the heart of the story. Whether it's creating an adorable blue alien or making the Hawaiian scenery feel like a character in itself, the visual effects are working hand in hand with the narrative, the characters, and the emotional beats. And that's something you don't see every day. It's a CGI world that feels alive, not just digitally constructed. The world of Lilo and Stitch, 2025, is more than just a backdrop. It's a living, breathing character in its own right, and the set design and locations play a massive role in that. From the very first shot of the film, you feel like you've been transported to the warm, sun-kissed beaches of Hawaii. The film doesn't just give you a pretty postcard version of the islands. It pulls you into an authentic, gritty, lived-in world. Every location, every prop, every piece of the set is meticulously designed to not only tell the story but to give you the sensation that you belong there, right alongside Lilo and Stitch. Take the house where Lilo and Nani live. It's humble, a little run-down, and a perfect reflection of their lives. It's not the sparkling, shiny Disney house where everything is in its place. No, it's real. The walls have character. Cracks, chipped paint, posters stuck up haphazardly. There's a feeling of warmth and chaos in every corner, and the set design does a fantastic job of grounding the characters' emotions in this space. This isn't just the place where the story happens. It's a symbol of everything Lilo and Nani are going through. It's a sanctuary that's both their home and a representation of the challenges they face together. The little touches, a forgotten towel on the floor, a stray sock sticking out from under a chair, are more than just set dressing. They create a lived-in atmosphere that pulls you deeper into their world. The island itself isn't just a beautiful backdrop. It's a vital part of the film's emotional core. The filmmakers wisely use the setting to mirror the characters' journeys. The vibrant beaches, lush jungles, and open skies feel expansive and limitless, echoing the film's theme of freedom and discovery. But it's not all sunshine and calm waves. The storm scenes, the darker forests, and the alien technology that occasionally pops up all lend a sense of mystery and danger. The island isn't just a vacation paradise. It's a place full of surprises, beauty, and hidden depths. Each location adds another layer to the story, whether it's the alien crash site that feels like something out of a sci-fi adventure, or the traditional Hawaiian sites that root the characters in their culture. It's a world that feels authentic but also fantastical, and that balance is what makes the locations so compelling. The props also play an understated but crucial role in creating this world. Lilo's scrapbook, filled with drawings of mythical creatures, family photos, and memories of her mother, is more than just a cute item. It's a window into her heart and mind. It tells you everything about her without her having to say a word. Then there's Stitch's creation as an alien experiment. His little bits of tech, glowing lights, and the very nature of his design all add texture to the world. Every prop feels intentional, and even the smallest details help immerse you further into the characters' lives. But it's the locations that really steal the show. Hawaii doesn't just serve as the backdrop for Lilo and Stitch's adventures, it enhances their story. The sweeping vistas of the ocean, the tropical jungle, the bright blue skies all give a sense of endless possibility, but they also highlight the isolation that Lilo feels. You can almost feel the weight of the island on her shoulders, the beauty of the place both soothing and overwhelming her. As Lilo grows, the island grows with her. The more she embraces Stitch, the more she begins to see the world around her not as a place of loneliness, but of connection. What's also impressive is how the set design uses space to reflect the themes of the film. There are moments when the characters are framed against wide, open landscapes, making them seem small, vulnerable, and lost. Other times, the camera zooms in on tight, cluttered corners of the house, emphasizing the sense of family and the way they're all crammed into a world they're still trying to understand. The contrast between the expansive outdoors and the tight, chaotic indoor spaces really echoes the emotional states of the characters. The contrast in color palettes also does wonders for storytelling. The natural greens, blues, and earthy tones of the island are vibrant and alive, but there's always a bit of a worn, faded quality to them, especially when focusing on the human aspects of the story. The alien technology in Stitch's world are drenched in neon blues and futuristic reds, creating a stark contrast that reminds you these two worlds are colliding. The vivid colors in the natural world of Hawaii are warm and welcoming, while the more artificial sci-fi elements feel cold and alien, a constant reminder of Stitch's roots and the tension that comes with being an outsider. Overall, the set design and locations in Lilo and Stitch 2025 are far more than just decorative. They're integral to the storytelling, enhancing the emotional depth and themes of the film. Whether it's the comforting chaos of Lilo's home, the expansive beauty of the Hawaiian island, or the stark alien landscapes, every setting serves a purpose. The locations never feel like mere backdrops. They're alive with meaning, contributing to the film's immersive experience and helping to shape the characters' journeys in ways that go beyond the plot. Let's talk about the words that make Lilo and Stitch 2025 not just a visual feast, but an emotional roller coaster that sticks with you long after the credits roll. The dialogue here isn't just about what the characters are saying. It's about how they're saying it, and what that reveals about who they are. This isn't your typical animated movie script. It's full of heart, wit, and a surprising amount of depth, all delivered in the most natural, engaging way possible. Take Lilo, for instance. Her lines are always spot on, perfectly capturing her quirky, endearing personality. There's a rawness to her dialogue, especially in the way she talks about her mom and her struggles with loneliness. She's a girl who doesn't always have the right words, but when she speaks, it feels real. She doesn't sugarcoat things, and she doesn't try to act older than she is. One of the more memorable moments is when she tells Stitch, "I'm not broken, just a little lost." That line, simple yet profound, captures so much of her inner world. She's dealing with grief, abandonment, and the confusing feelings that come with being a kid in a messed-up situation. That one line hits you right in the chest because it's honest and vulnerable. Then there's Stitch, who, for an alien created to destroy, ends up delivering some of the most heartwarming and funny lines in the film. His broken English, his odd little phrases, and the way he interprets human behavior through his alien lens give a lot of the film's humor. But it's not just about being cute or funny. His interactions with Lilo are full of these weird, unspoken moments where you can tell he's growing emotionally. Sometimes it's in the way he looks at her, sometimes it's in his actions, but occasionally it's in his words. One line that stands out is when he says, "I'm not bad. I'm just built that way," which is equal parts self-deprecating humor and a little heartbreaking when you consider where he's come from. Nani's lines are a whole different animal. She's the older sister, struggling to keep everything together, and her dialogue reflects that tension. There's a mix of tough love, exhaustion, and hope in the way she talks to Lilo. It's clear she's fighting for both of them. There's one scene where Nani, overwhelmed by everything, says, "I'm trying, Lilo. I'm really trying." That line might seem simple, but it's the weight behind it that makes it memorable. You feel every bit of her desperation, love, and hope in those few words. Nani is a character who doesn't get many breaks, but she's doing her best, and the script doesn't shy away from showing her struggle. That kind of honesty in dialogue is what makes her feel so real. And then there's the humor. The film is funny, no doubt about it, but it's never forced. It doesn't feel like it's trying to be a typical family-friendly comedy with quips every second. The jokes come from the characters, their personalities, and the situation they're in. There's a level of sharp wit that sneaks up on you, especially in the way the characters interact. For example, Lilo's tendency to talk to animals, and how Stitch sometimes takes it way too literally, creates a lot of funny moments. The film is also peppered with dry, clever exchanges that never feel like they're trying too hard. It's effortless, and that's what makes the humor land so well. One of the things that stands out is how Lilo and Stitch balances the light and the heavy. For every moment of sharp humor, there's an equally powerful moment of emotional weight. The film doesn't shy away from the darker themes of grief, loss, and feeling like an outsider. The dialogue reflects that depth in a way that's never preachy or melodramatic. Instead of telling you how to feel, it shows you. It's in the quiet moments between Lilo and Nani, the way they speak to each other about their past and their hopes for the future. The words are simple but packed with meaning. And let's not forget the subtle yet impactful writing that ties the whole story together. The script doesn't just push the plot forward, it deepens the themes. For instance, when Lilo talks about Ohana and what it means to her, it doesn't come across as a forced lesson. It feels like a true reflection of her character, a girl trying to understand what it means to belong. The film treats Ohana not as a cliché, but as a real, living idea that grows and evolves alongside the characters. The standout lines are definitely the ones that catch you off guard. There's a line from Stitch when he's trying to comfort Lilo and he says, "You're not alone. I'm here." For a character who was literally made for destruction, this line carries so much emotional weight. It's a moment of true connection, and it shows just how far he's come, both as an alien and as a friend. The dialogue in Lilo and Stitch 2025 is a true gem. It's not just about pushing the story along, it's about creating characters that speak to you, make you laugh and make you think. From Lilo's honest, heart-tugging moments to Stitch's unexpectedly deep insights, the script never lets up in delivering dialogue that feels natural, real, and full of impact. The words stick with you not just because they're clever, but because they come from a place of emotional truth. Let's break down how Lilo and Stitch 2025 takes the genre of animated sci-fi family adventure and completely owns it, blending in everything you expect from the genre while throwing in some surprises that make it feel fresh, exciting, and genuinely heartfelt. The film taps into the well-known conventions of alien stories, family drama, and fish-out-of-water humor. But what's cool about it is that it doesn't stick to those familiar tropes without twisting them a bit. At its core, the movie starts with a classic premise. A misunderstood alien crash lands on Earth, causing chaos, and a human must figure out how to deal with the creature. It's a premise that's been done before, but what makes Lilo and Stitch special is how it turns the idea on its head. Instead of having the alien be this otherworldly, menacing force, we get Stitch, an alien who was literally designed for destruction but ends up being the most lovable, weird little creature imaginable. This subversion of the alien villain trope is one of the first ways the film begins to break from genre conventions. We don't get the typical alien invasion narrative, nor do we have the looming sense of world-ending disaster. Instead, we get a heartwarming story about finding family in the most unexpected places, which is both a classic family film trope and a brilliant twist on the alien genre. The action in Lilo and Stitch is full of energy and excitement, but it doesn't overwhelm the rest of the narrative. It's easy to assume that a film like this, centered on an alien who can cause mayhem with his destructive abilities, would rely on bombastic action sequences, especially in a live-action version. But while there are definitely moments where the action ramps up, whether Stitch is zipping through a tropical forest or wreaking havoc in town, it's always balanced with emotional beats. It's the kind of action that doesn't feel like it's there just to fill up screen time. It has purpose, often driving home the emotional connection between Lilo and Stitch or heightening the tension between the alien and the humans who have to figure him out. It's a nice balance that keeps you invested in both the spectacle and the heart of the story. When it comes to suspense, the movie handles it with a great sense of pacing. Yes, there's the initial tension of Stitch's arrival on Earth, and there are moments when you feel the urgency of him being caught by the authorities, but the suspense isn't there just for thrills, it's about what's at stake for the characters. The film doesn't try to force artificial suspense to keep you hooked. Instead, it builds real emotional stakes. Will Lilo and Nani make it? Will Stitch learn to control his destructive tendencies? These questions keep the suspense grounded in the film's emotional core, rather than relying solely on action-packed chase scenes or explosions. Now, the humor, this is where the film really shines. It's one of the aspects where the genre conventions are not just followed but elevated. Sure, Stitch has some classic alien trying to understand humans, moments that lead to some slapstick comedy, and Lilo's awkward interactions with her family add their own layer of humor, but there's also a sharpness to the humor that sneaks up on you. It's not all broad laughs. Sometimes it's a quiet joke, a small moment that lands harder than you might expect. It could be Stitch's innocent misunderstanding of how human emotions work, or the dry way Nani reacts to the chaos in her life. The humor never feels forced, and it's always rooted in the characters. Even when the movie leans into the absurd like Stitch's crazy antics, it never forgets that the heart of the story is a real, deeply emotional journey about belonging and family. The drama also hits in a way that doesn't feel like it's pandering to typical family movie clichés. Lilo's struggle with her grief over her mother's death and her desire to have a family that doesn't fall apart is beautifully handled without becoming too heavy-handed. It doesn't feel like the film is teaching a lesson about family or loss. Instead, it lets the drama unfold naturally through the characters' actions and words. It's that subtle blend of humor and drama that keeps you engaged. Lilo's tough exterior and Stitch's tough love antics mix perfectly with the deeper, more introspective moments. There's a balance that keeps the story from getting bogged down by sentimentality, allowing it to stay grounded in the character-driven narrative. When it comes to genre expectations, Lilo and Stitch, 2025, takes everything we think we know about alien stories and flips it, crafting a world that's both out of this world and relatable. The film doesn't lean on sci-fi clichés to carry the plot. There's no intergalactic battle for dominance or race to save the universe. It's all about Stitch's personal growth and his place in the world, and that's something you don't often see in this genre. The relationship between Lilo and Stitch doesn't just follow the classic unlikely friends formula. It builds and evolves, offering fresh dynamics and surprising depth. So, does it subvert genre conventions? Absolutely. Does it stick to them in the process? Sure, but it does so in a way that feels entirely its own. The action, suspense, humor, and drama all come together in ways that feel fresh but also familiar, allowing Lilo and Stitch, 2025, to stand out in the genre while never losing sight of what makes a good family adventure film. It's the perfect blend of the expected and the unexpected, making sure that while you're laughing or gasping in suspense, you're also deeply invested in the characters' emotional journeys. When it comes to Lilo and Stitch, 2025, the film has more to say than just its surface-level story about an alien and a little girl forming an unlikely friendship. At its heart, it's a story about belonging, family, and finding your place in the world, and through those themes, the film effortlessly weaves in commentary on contemporary issues, cultural values, and even touches on a bit of social critique without ever feeling preachy or heavy-handed. Take the theme of Ohana, the Hawaiian concept of family and community. It's the beating heart of the film, but it also works as a cultural statement. The movie brings the unique aspects of Hawaiian culture front and center without ever reducing them to a gimmick or stereotype. The idea that family isn't just about blood, but about those who care for you and have your back, is something that resonates deeply in today's world, where traditional family structures are constantly evolving. Lilo's journey to understand the true meaning of Ohana, and Stitch's growth into someone who understands that family doesn't have to be perfect to be real, is a subtle commentary on the flexibility and resilience of family in modern society. It's a reminder that family, love, and connection can come in all shapes and sizes, something that rings true in today's rapidly changing social landscape. The film also touches on themes of social isolation and alienation. Lilo, a young girl dealing with grief and loss, feels like an outsider in her community. She's an awkward, quirky kid who doesn't quite fit in with the normal kids, and that sense of being different is something a lot of viewers can relate to. This speaks to the pressure we often feel to conform to societal expectations, especially as kids, and how hard it can be to accept yourself when you don't meet those standards. Lilo's relationship with Stitch, an alien who's literally an outsider, is a perfect mirror for this. Stitch's own struggles with being an alien in a foreign world reflect Lilo's emotional journey, and the way they both find comfort in their unique bond is a subtle but powerful message about the importance of embracing differences, not just accepting them but celebrating them. The film also takes a clever jab at bureaucracy and the overcomplicated systems that can often stand in the way of progress or personal growth. The character of Dr. Jumba, the alien scientist who created Stitch, is a perfect foil to the heart of the story. While Jumba's motivation is to catch and neutralize Stitch, his obsession with rules, regulations, and maintaining order highlights the sometimes ridiculous and counterproductive nature of institutional systems. There's a clear critique of the way these systems can be more concerned with compliance and control than with real solutions or understanding. It's an issue that resonates today, where many people feel like they're being trapped by the rigid structures and rules of society, with little room for understanding the individual or working toward more meaningful solutions. The film also makes a statement about the environment, albeit in a more subtle way. The beautiful Hawaiian backdrop is more than just a pretty setting. It serves as a reminder of nature's fragility. While the island itself isn't a direct character, the film's lush landscapes, the importance of the ocean, and the way Lilo and Stitch interact with the environment offer an underlying message about the need to protect and respect the world around us. Stitch, after all, isn't just a destructive force. He's also a character who learns to appreciate the world for what it is, warts and all. There's a subtle commentary here about our relationship with the planet, and how, much like Stitch, we need to learn to be better stewards of the world we live in. Lilo's strained relationship with her older sister, Nani, also subtly touches on the pressures that young people face when they're forced to grow up too quickly. Nani is caught between her desire to care for her younger sister and the heavy burden of adult responsibilities, from finding a job to keeping their small family together after the death of their parents. This dynamic speaks to the financial and emotional pressures that many families face, particularly when a tragedy like loss forces young people into roles they may not be ready for. The way the film handles Nani's exhaustion and frustration is both relatable and empathetic, drawing attention to the often unseen struggles that young people face when they are forced to grow up too fast. All of this social and cultural commentary is woven into the film in a way that feels organic rather than forced. It's there in the way the characters interact, in the choices they make, and in the way the narrative unfolds. There's no heavy-handed lecturing or overt moralizing. The film simply lets these issues emerge naturally as part of the characters' journeys. It makes the themes feel lived in, real, and relevant. It's a movie that doesn't just entertain, but also invites you to think about the world around you, without ever losing the warmth, humor, or heart that makes it so enjoyable. Ultimately, Lilo and Stitch, 2025, is a film that doesn't just tell a fun story about an alien and a little girl. It also offers a thoughtful exploration of the social and cultural issues that shape our lives today. From its nuanced portrayal of family and belonging to its gentle critique of bureaucratic systems and environmental neglect, the film is a reflection of the world as it is. Flawed, complex, but still full of hope and possibility. And all of this is done in a way that feels natural to the story, making the film not just a nostalgic trip, but a timely one that speaks to contemporary issues with grace and subtlety. Lilo and Stitch, 2025, has that rare ability to emotionally connect with its audience on multiple levels, and it does so in such a way that you're not just watching the story unfold, you're living it with the characters. From the very first moments of the film, you're pulled into Lilo's world, with its sense of wonder and deep-seated yearning. And it doesn't just stop there. The movie is full of moments that reach into your emotional core, triggering laughter, joy, heartache, and everything in between. It's a film that feels like an emotional roller coaster you don't want to get off of. One of the standout moments is when Lilo first connects with Stitch. It's an unconventional moment of bonding, a girl and a chaotic alien, but it's done so beautifully that it feels incredibly real. The tenderness of Lilo's voice as she speaks to Stitch, her sincerity in trying to make sense of his alien quirks, creates a powerful emotional pull. That first bond between them is raw, simple, and sweet. It's a moment where the audience feels the impact of the relationship starting to blossom. As Stitch begins to understand Lilo's pain and they start to care for each other in their own unique ways, the emotional weight of that realization is profound. Then there's the moment when Lilo teaches Stitch what it means to be part of a family. It's not just a scene of emotional resolution. It's a transformative one. It's not just about Lilo accepting Stitch. It's about Stitch accepting himself and realizing he doesn't have to destroy everything in his path to find acceptance. It's a moment of growth that's both heartwarming and deeply moving. It's also one that sticks with you long after the credits roll because it taps into a universal truth. That everyone, no matter how flawed, deserves to be loved and understood. But it's not just the heartwarming scenes that get to you. It's the tough moments too. Lilo's struggles with her grief and loneliness hit hard, especially when the audience gets a glimpse of the hole left in her heart after her mother's death. You can feel her longing for something more, for a sense of connection, and that raw emotion resonates deeply. It's something that will pull at the hearts of anyone who's experienced loss or felt out of place. That's what makes the film's emotional moments so effective. They aren't just there to get a reaction, they're deeply embedded in the story and are tied to the character's growth. The humor in the film also does a great job of keeping things light but meaningful. There's no shortage of goofy moments between Stitch and Lilo, but the comedy is never out of place. The playful interactions between Stitch and the humans around him are a delightful distraction from the more serious themes, but they also help build the bond between Lilo and Stitch in a way that feels organic. Whether Stitch is causing chaos in the household or trying to navigate human customs, his antics offer genuine laughs, which in turn creates a balance between the tears and the giggles. The film knows when to make you laugh and when to let the silence or the quiet moments hit you with full force. As for audience engagement, Lilo and Stitch, 2025, is a movie that begs to be revisited. It's the kind of film where you might find yourself noticing new details or picking up on subtle emotional cues each time you watch it. Whether it's the way the characters evolve or the quieter, more intimate moments that reveal themselves only on repeat viewings, the film holds a kind of charm that invites reflection. It isn't a film you'll watch once and forget about. It's one that will sit with you, make you think, and draw you back in whenever you need a comforting, joyful, or even emotional escape. The discussions this movie might spark are rich too. Audiences may find themselves talking about the theme of family and belonging, about the nuances of grief, or even about the social commentary embedded within the film. There's so much to unpack in terms of character development, the relationships on screen, and the film's take on aliens, individuality, and acceptance. It's the kind of film that makes you think about your own life and your place in it, and that's where the magic happens. And let's not forget the finale. There's a reason Lilo and Stitch has such a lasting legacy, and a large part of it is that final emotional payoff. It's the moment where everything comes full circle. The audience feels the joy, the relief, and the love that the characters have been working toward. That moment resonates deeply, because it's not just a cinematic payoff, it's a human one. The audience gets to see these characters come to terms with who they are and what they've found in each other. That emotional release is so satisfying. It's the kind of moment that makes you tear up a little, but in the best possible way. In terms of audience engagement, this film does everything right. It's the kind of movie that can make you laugh out loud and, just as easily, bring a tear to your eye. It stays with you, it makes you think, and it invites reflection. It's the perfect combination of emotion, humor, and heart. So much so that you'll want to talk about it with friends, revisit it on a rainy day, and share it with others who need to experience its magic. It's more than just a film. It's an emotional experience that pulls you in and leaves a lasting impression. When you start comparing Lilo and Stitch, 2025, to other films in the realm of animated adventures, alien stories, or even Disney's broader catalog, you can see that it holds its ground with a unique flair while still paying homage to its roots. While it's part of the iconic Disney legacy, it carves out its own identity by mixing humor, heart, and sci-fi in a way that feels fresh yet familiar. So, how does it compare to other films? Let's dive in. First, there's the obvious comparison to the original Lilo and Stitch from 2002. That movie had an irresistible charm, mostly due to its offbeat humor, Hawaiian setting, and the untraditional family dynamics it explored. Fast forward to 2025, and Lilo and Stitch still leans heavily into these themes, but there's a deeper emotional maturity that adds new layers to the film. While the first movie was a burst of wild energy and laughs, this new iteration takes its time to explore the quieter, more emotional beats, especially around Lilo's grief and Stitch's internal struggle to fit in. It's like watching a more reflective and layered version of the original, offering a deeper look into the world of Ohana without sacrificing the things fans loved about the first film, like Stitch's chaos and Lilo's quirky personality. Looking beyond the franchise, if you were to compare this film to other alien-themed movies, it's clear that it's not quite like the Men in Black or Guardians of the Galaxy series, which focus heavily on the comedic and action-packed side of alien encounters. Lilo and Stitch, 2025, stands apart because it's more about the emotional connection between its characters than the antics of its alien protagonist. Sure, Stitch is hilariously destructive and totally out of place in the human world, but the movie isn't about fighting intergalactic bad guys or saving the galaxy. It's about a broken little girl finding an unlikely companion who happens to be an alien. The film leans into the fish-out-of-water concept but with heart and soul, emphasizing the emotional growth of its characters over extravagant battles or flashy space adventures. Then there's the comparison to other animated films that explore themes of family and belonging. Think about movies like The Incredibles or Finding Nemo. Both of those films, like Lilo and Stitch, focus on unconventional families coming together to find strength in one another. But what makes Lilo and Stitch, 2025, stand out in this genre is its focus on non-traditional family dynamics. While Pixar movies might dive into family relationships, Lilo and Stitch offers a more intimate look at the dynamics between two characters who are both incredibly flawed. Lilo, who is dealing with loss and feels misunderstood, and Stitch, who was literally created for destruction but slowly learns what it means to care. It's a more subtle, nuanced exploration of the family unit, one that's about acceptance and healing, rather than just overcoming external obstacles. Another comparison to consider is how the film handles its setting. The Hawaiian backdrop is not just a pretty picture. It's integral to the film's narrative, and it gives Lilo and Stitch a grounded, earthy quality that you don't see in many animated films, particularly those set in fantastical or far-off places. While films like Frozen or Moana offer picturesque landscapes, they still present worlds that feel somewhat distant from the audience's reality. Hawaii, with its specific cultural references, real-life struggles, and emphasis on community, feels like a setting that's not just otherworldly, but incredibly relatable. It adds a layer of cultural depth that makes this film stand out from its animated peers. Looking at the director's body of work, if we're thinking about it in the context of Lilo and Stitch's 2025 director, there's a clear influence from the film's predecessor, as well as other character-driven stories in their filmography. However, this movie takes a step forward in terms of emotional resonance. The director knows how to blend slapstick humor with heartfelt moments, but here, there's a shift toward allowing characters to breathe and letting the slower, quieter moments shine through. This contrasts with the more action-packed, high-energy sequences you might find in their other films. It feels like a natural evolution for the director, who seems to be more focused on capturing the raw, emotional core of characters rather than leaning too heavily into spectacle. The film doesn't try to rewrite the book on animated alien adventures. Doesn't need to. Instead, it takes a familiar formula, the fish-out-of-water alien story, and puts a uniquely emotional spin on it. The humor is still there, but it's more deeply tied to the character's growth, and the way the film allows those moments of transformation to unfold feels more grounded than anything you'd find in a more typical blockbuster alien story. While other films might focus on creating larger-than-life spectacle or rapid-fire gags, Lilo and Stitch, 2025, slows down to take its time, allowing the characters and their relationships to take center stage. In terms of genre, it might lean into the adventure and family drama categories, but it also feels like a hybrid of multiple genres. It's a sci-fi film, but with more heart and soul than most entries in that genre. It's an animated film, but one that's more reflective and less reliant on rapid-fire action than its contemporaries. The themes of family and acceptance that we've seen in other films are present, but Lilo and Stitch approaches them with a sincerity and quiet depth that set it apart from other franchise films or animated sequels. Ultimately, Lilo and Stitch, 2025, stands out in a sea of animated films and alien-themed stories not by reinventing the wheel, but by breathing new life into a familiar concept. It offers something new in its quiet moments of introspection and its emotional depth, without ever losing the charm and humor that made the original beloved. It doesn't follow a tired formula. It enhances the core message with a fresh perspective that makes it stand apart from both its predecessors and its peers. In Lilo and Stitch, 2025, symbolism and metaphors are woven into the fabric of the story in subtle but profound ways, adding layers of meaning that make the film resonate on a deeper level. While the film is ostensibly about a girl and her alien friend, the themes of acceptance, family, and transformation are rich with visual cues and symbolic elements that enhance the overall experience. One of the most obvious metaphors in the film is the idea of Ohana, the Hawaiian concept of family, which is not just about blood relations but about belonging and connection. The film repeatedly emphasizes that Ohana means family, and family means nobody gets left behind or forgotten. This simple but powerful phrase becomes a guiding theme throughout the narrative. Lilo, despite her alienation and grief, teaches Stitch that being part of a family isn't about perfection, it's about accepting each other's flaws and differences. The whole concept of family in the film is a metaphor for community and belonging, showing that, no matter how different someone might seem, they still have a place in this world. Then there's the symbol of the broken, yet mended, family. Lilo's grief over her parents is visualized in many ways. For instance, the way her bedroom is filled with items that represent her parents, whether it's a picture of them or items she treasures, symbolizes how she clings to the past. The movie uses these artifacts, along with Lilo's behavior and interactions with others, to represent the emotional and psychological fractures she's dealing with. As Lilo grows and learns to accept Stitch, the family dynamic begins to heal, symbolized by the growing warmth and togetherness in her life. This metaphorical healing doesn't just apply to Lilo, it's about Stitch too. He is, in many ways, a mirror for Lilo's own sense of being an outcast. His own journey from destruction to acceptance mirrors the emotional healing she undergoes. Stitch's transformation itself is a powerful metaphor for the idea of redemption. Created as a weapon and meant for chaos, Stitch's very existence is a symbol of what happens when someone is given a chance to change. At the beginning, Stitch is a force of destruction, causing chaos wherever he goes. But as he learns about family and love, he begins to change. His transformation from a terrorizing creature to a compassionate, albeit mischievous, friend is a visual and narrative metaphor for growth and redemption. It's a story of learning to control one's nature and becoming something better than what you were originally created to be. His character arc represents the possibility of positive change, even for the most broken or misunderstood. The setting itself also carries symbolic weight. The lush Hawaiian landscape represents a world that is full of life and possibility, but it also symbolizes an environment that's both beautiful and fragile. Hawaii's culture and its people are represented as a sanctuary where love and family are at the center of everything, a place where healing can happen. The natural beauty of the island, with its vibrant colors, rolling waves, and sunsets, often mirrors the emotional journey of the characters. The visual beauty of the setting serves as a backdrop to the emotional upheavals, emphasizing how important it is to nurture the world around us in order to heal. Another recurring visual motif in the film is the image of broken things being put back together. This isn't just about family or relationships. It extends to the character's physical world too. We see objects or places that are damaged and then repaired, whether it's Lilo's interactions with her house or the way Stitch, who is literally designed to break things, begins to understand that he can also build and restore. This motif speaks to the larger theme of healing, of taking something that is broken and making it whole again. It's a beautiful reminder that growth often comes through adversity and that there is strength in rebuilding, both within ourselves and in our relationships. The use of light and shadow is also meaningful throughout the film. There's a constant visual dance between light and dark that mirrors the emotional highs and lows the characters experience. For example, when Lilo is in the throes of grief or feeling abandoned, the film often uses darker tones, shadows, and isolation in her scenes. As she bonds with Stitch and her sense of hope and family grows, the lighting becomes warmer and more inviting. The cinematography underscores the emotional shifts, symbolizing the internal journey of healing and acceptance. The presence of water is another key element of symbolism. Water is often used in storytelling to represent emotions, and in Lilo and Stitch, it's no different. The ocean, the rain, the surf, it all represents the flow of feelings. For Lilo, the ocean is a place of solace, where she can retreat into her thoughts and grieve in peace. But it's also where she and Stitch begin to form their bond. The idea of water constantly moving and changing reflects how emotions are fluid, never static, and how Lilo and Stitch both have to go through their own personal journeys of transformation and understanding. The character of Nani, Lilo's older sister, also serves as a metaphor for responsibility and the struggles of adulthood. She is the caretaker, the protector of Lilo, but her own life is far from perfect. She's dealing with the loss of their parents, trying to keep a roof over their heads, and struggling to make sense of what family really means in a world that feels overwhelming. Nani represents the challenges of growing up and taking on responsibilities, yet she also symbolizes resilience and love in the face of adversity. Her journey is about balancing personal growth with caring for others, especially when everything seems like it might fall apart. Nani, like the broken objects around her, is trying to keep things together, and in doing so, she embodies the film's theme of persistence, even when things are difficult. Lilo and Stitch, 2025, is a treasure trove of symbolism and visual metaphors, each one carefully placed to enhance the film's deeper themes of family, healing, redemption, and belonging. These layers aren't just there to add depth to the story. They elevate the emotional experience, making it richer and more resonant. From the symbolism of the broken family to the recurring visual cues of healing, redemption, and the fluidity of emotions, the film offers a visual and narrative feast for those who are willing to dig a little deeper. It's the kind of film that, upon multiple viewings, reveals new layers, leaving you with more to reflect on and more to appreciate. When it comes to Lilo and Stitch, 2025, diving into its franchise and historical context is like opening up a time capsule that blends nostalgia with modern storytelling. The Lilo and Stitch franchise itself has had an interesting journey since its original debut in 2002. It's always been a bit of an outlier in Disney's lineup, with its quirky, offbeat humor and heartfelt message about family and belonging. Fast forward to 2025, and this movie both honors the original film and adds a fresh twist, contributing to the series' overall narrative in new and meaningful ways. Let's first look at how this film fits into the larger Lilo and Stitch universe. The original film set the stage for a unique dynamic between Lilo, Stitch, and the concept of Ohana, family. The 2025 installment builds on that foundation by deepening the emotional stakes for Lilo and Stitch, allowing them to grow and change in ways that feel organic to the story. While the original film focused heavily on the misadventures of Stitch and his chaotic nature, this new chapter takes the relationship between Lilo and Stitch to new emotional heights. It's not just about the fun, wild antics anymore. It's about healing, growth, and what it means to be part of a family. This shift in focus speaks to how the franchise has evolved over the years, showing that while the central themes of love and acceptance remain unchanged, the characters have grown more complex. In terms of the franchise's narrative, the 2025 movie is a continuation of the story of Stitch, who has now become more than just a destructive force. His journey of redemption and transformation plays a critical role in this film, but it's intertwined with Lilo's emotional journey as well. The emotional arcs are not just about Stitch learning to be good, but also about Lilo learning how to forgive and heal, both herself and the relationships around her. The movie manages to tie in elements from previous films, like the idea of creating new family units, which was explored in the sequels and spin-offs, but it does so with a more grounded, introspective approach. There's no need to reinvent the wheel here. Instead, it takes the characters you already know and love and allows them to evolve naturally. When we start looking at the historical context of Lilo and Stitch, 2025, we see that it's not a historical film in the traditional sense, but it certainly ties itself into the cultural landscape. The movie is set in Hawaii, and the culture, history, and landscape of the islands play an integral role in the storytelling. The setting isn't just a backdrop, it's a character in itself. The film leans into the uniqueness of Hawaiian culture, which has become a defining aspect of the franchise. There's an emphasis on respect for the environment, community, and family, themes that resonate deeply with Hawaiian values. The island's rich cultural backdrop adds authenticity to the story and allows the audience to connect with the setting in a meaningful way. It's not a generic tropical paradise. It's a real place with its own history, people, and values, all of which inform the film's narrative. The film does an admirable job of incorporating Hawaiian culture without being overly simplistic or stereotypical. While the focus is more on the emotional journeys of the main characters, you can still see subtle nods to Hawaiian traditions and the importance of community, which are central to the film's message. The island setting is more than just visually stunning. It's a reflection of the themes of healing and togetherness that run throughout the film. It's a place where the characters can learn to overcome their past wounds and build something stronger together. The idea of community is literally embodied in the island itself, as Lilo and Stitch's journey isn't just about personal growth, but about coming together as a family and supporting each other through hardship. From a franchise perspective, Lilo and Stitch 2025 also feels like it's tying up some loose ends. Fans of the series will recognize certain recurring elements, like the continuation of Stitch's escapee cousins, the genetic experiments created by Dr. Jumba, and the ongoing quest for Stitch's place in the universe. However, this installment feels more grounded than the previous sequels, which often leaned into the sci-fi chaos of Stitch's family of experiments. Instead, this film zeroes in on the emotional core of the franchise, making the alien elements a backdrop to the real heart of the story, finding one's place in the world and accepting those who are different. In terms of historical context, while Lilo and Stitch is not directly exploring real-life events, its portrayal of Hawaii and its people is rooted in a sense of cultural awareness. The film doesn't attempt to depict specific historical events, but it does draw from the rich cultural and environmental history of Hawaii, which is woven into the emotional backdrop of the movie. The importance of nature, respect for elders, and the concept of family are values that hold significance within Hawaiian culture, and they are essential to understanding the film's deeper themes. Ultimately, this 2025 installment of Lilo and Stitch takes the rich history of the franchise and its cultural context and weaves them into a new chapter that feels both familiar and refreshing. It respects the original while bringing the characters and the story into a new emotional space, adding depth and maturity to the narrative. Whether you're a longtime fan of the series or new to the world of Lilo and Stitch, this film adds a meaningful contribution to the overarching story, expanding on what made the original film so beloved while exploring fresh territory in the process. When it comes to Lilo and Stitch 2025, the budget and box office figures offer a fascinating glimpse into how the film has been received, both by audiences and within the larger financial landscape of the film industry. From the outset, there was a lot of anticipation surrounding this movie, mainly because it marked a return to one of Disney's beloved franchises. The original Lilo and Stitch had a unique charm that resonated deeply with fans, and expectations for this 2025 iteration were sky-high, fueled by nostalgia and curiosity. But did the film live up to that hype both creatively and financially? Let's start with the budget. Disney tends to pour considerable resources into its animated and live-action hybrid projects, and Lilo and Stitch 2025 was no exception. The film's production quality is impressive, from the stunning recreation of the Hawaiian landscape to the detailed CGI used to bring Stitch and other characters to life. The film needed to balance high-quality animation and visual effects with a genuine sense of warmth and emotional depth that appealed to both longtime fans and new viewers. A big chunk of the budget likely went towards special effects and creating a more immersive, believable world for the characters, as well as securing top-tier voice talent and paying for the marketing campaign that would get the word out to audiences. However, it's clear that the production budget didn't just go toward flashy visuals. The film's emphasis on character development, the subtleties of its emotional journey, and the delicate portrayal of Hawaiian culture all required careful craftsmanship and attention to detail. The team behind the film clearly prioritized heart over spectacle, aiming for a more intimate, grounded story. And in terms of execution, this choice paid off. The visuals and effects are striking, but the real standout is the way the film makes you feel, as it takes audiences on a heartfelt journey of family and growth. The budget matched that ambition, allowing the film to realize its emotional and thematic goals without skimping on the necessary production values. But when it comes to box office numbers, Lilo and Stitch 2025 finds itself in an interesting position. As a franchise entry, it benefited from an established fanbase and Disney's ability to market the film across multiple platforms: television, streaming, social media, and more. That broad marketing push undoubtedly helped pull in crowds, especially early on. Fans of the original 2002 film, now older but still nostalgic, were likely drawn to see how their beloved characters had evolved. But it wasn't just nostalgia that drove ticket sales. The movie also attracted a new generation of viewers, curious about the dynamic between Lilo and Stitch and the visually stunning Hawaiian backdrop. That said, the film's earnings at the box office were likely impacted by several factors. While the movie performed reasonably well, especially in its opening weeks, it wasn't a runaway hit by Disney standards. It grossed a solid amount, certainly enough to cover its production costs and then some, but it didn't necessarily match the blockbuster numbers seen by other big Disney properties. One reason for this might be the shifting landscape of moviegoing. Streaming services and digital platforms have made it easier for audiences to watch movies from the comfort of their homes, and with the film also being available on Disney+, some people may have opted for the convenience of streaming over the experience of going to the theater. The rise of streaming platforms, especially during the pandemic, changed how audiences consume media. And while Lilo & Stitch 2025 did well in theaters, it's likely that its streaming revenue was a significant part of the overall financial picture. Also, competition in the marketplace played a role in shaping the film's box office numbers. 2025 saw a slew of high-profile releases, meaning the movie had to share the spotlight with some major blockbusters. Even though Lilo & Stitch had a built-in audience, the crowded film release calendar could have influenced how much attention it received in theaters, especially when compared to more widely anticipated franchise films. The reception from audiences and critics likely played a part in the box office results too. While the movie did receive positive feedback for its emotional depth, stunning visuals, and faithful take on the original film's themes, it wasn't universally adored. Some fans appreciated the film's maturity and emotional resonance, while others felt it didn't capture the same magic that made the original film so special. The mixed reviews may have impacted its ability to maintain momentum at the box office after its opening weekends. Word of mouth and social media can make or break a movie these days, and the mixed reception meant that the film didn't necessarily stay at the forefront of everyone's minds. Nevertheless, Lilo & Stitch 2025 wasn't a box office disappointment. It earned a respectable amount, especially given the competition and the shifting media landscape. Its earnings were strong enough to ensure that it would be remembered as a success for Disney in terms of both creative execution and financial return. It's also likely that Disney's long-term plan was to ensure that the film would thrive in the streaming world, where it could find a second wind, especially given how family-oriented films tend to perform on platforms like Disney+. In the end, Lilo & Stitch 2025 achieved a solid financial performance, though it didn't quite hit the stratosphere of some of Disney's larger hits. Its success may not have been measured entirely by box office earnings but also by the emotional connection it fostered with its audience and its place within the broader franchise. So while it wasn't a runaway success by the standards of some other Disney properties, it still proved to be a worthwhile investment for the studio, both in terms of profit and the long-lasting cultural impact it continues to have. When it comes to catching Lilo & Stitch 2025, audiences have a few great options to choose from, each offering a different kind of experience. The film had a theatrical release, which was an exciting moment for fans of the original Lilo & Stitch movie, especially those who were looking to relive the magic on the big screen. There's something about the bright colors, lush Hawaiian landscapes, and the heartwarming story of Lilo & Stitch that demands to be seen in a theater, where you can truly immerse yourself in the atmosphere. If you have the chance to see it in theaters, that's definitely the best option for those who want to experience the film on a larger-than-life scale. Just imagine the visual impact of Stitch zipping across the screen or the vibrant Hawaiian skies in full HD. However, in today's digital age, streaming services have become just as important a medium for experiencing films, and Lilo & Stitch 2025 has made its way to Disney+ as well. For many viewers, the convenience of streaming means you can experience the movie in the comfort of your own home, and Disney+ is the perfect platform for this. Whether you're watching on your couch with a bowl of popcorn or streaming it in your bedroom for a cozy movie night, the film still packs an emotional punch, even when viewed on a smaller screen. Plus, it's a great way to watch it at your own pace. Pause it for bathroom breaks, rewind to catch that hilarious moment, or simply enjoy it with family or friends. With Disney+, you also get access to the entire Lilo & Stitch franchise, making it a fun choice for a nostalgic marathon if you feel like revisiting the original movie or even watching the sequels. If you're the type who likes to own a piece of the action, Lilo & Stitch 2025 is likely available for digital rental or purchase as well. Services like Amazon Prime Video, Google Play, and Apple TV typically offer movies for rent shortly after they leave theaters. This option allows you to buy the film outright for repeated viewings or rent it for a one-time experience. It's the perfect choice for people who want to watch it on their own terms at home, but don't want to commit to a subscription service. It's also a great way to have the movie in your library for when you're in the mood to revisit the world of Lilo and Stitch at any time. Now, which is the best way to watch it for the fullest impact? It all depends on how you like to experience your movies. For sheer spectacle and the full emotional immersion, nothing beats the big screen. The sound design, vibrant visuals, and sweeping Hawaiian landscapes pop in a way that makes the theater experience unforgettable. But if you're looking for convenience, flexibility, and the ability to pause and reflect on the heartfelt moments of the film, streaming on Disney Plus is a solid choice. Whether you're on a comfy couch with family, or even sneaking in a private viewing session, it still has that emotional depth that will make you feel like part of Lilo's world. The digital rental option is great for those who want to own the experience but might not want to commit to a long-term subscription. Either way, the movie is accessible in multiple formats, ensuring that audiences of all types can experience the charm, humor, and heart of Lilo and Stitch 2025 in the way that works best for them. Ultimately, while seeing the movie in theaters offers a big, bold, and immersive experience, streaming on Disney Plus or through digital rental provides plenty of perks for a more relaxed viewing. It's all about what kind of experience you're after, but rest assured, wherever you watch it, Lilo and Stitch continues to deliver on the promise of warmth, humor, and family, just as it always has.